DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural. Lady D. Looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
I ain't looking tacky cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so nappy, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is children on that cartoon.
Hey guys, be sure to stop by Airfros-and-Babyhairs.myshopify.com to check out our latest merch. We have something for everyone in the family, including your pets. We have put so much thought and so much of you in mind when it comes down to our design. So we hope you enjoy, and also be sure to use our Nappy Gang 10 as your discount code to get 10% off of your order. So once again, thanks in advance. Hey guys, and welcome back to Airfros and Babyhairs, and thank you for joining me for chatting with Airfros and Babyhairs. I am your host, infamous Lady Z. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully all is well. Myself, I'm doing pretty good. Just wanted to come through and put y'all up on what's going on. Once again, some of this information is old, some of this information is new, but I just wanted to do my part and get it out to my listeners. So we're going to start off with this leprosy claim that's going around. People are catching leprosy mainly in Florida, which is shocking. You know, I'll get into my thoughts after I read what's going on. But this is from CNN Health, and it says Central Florida is a hotspot for leprosy, report says. And this is by Giri Viswanathan. I know I'm butchering the name, but y'all know. Anyway, it says when a 54-year-old landscaper came into an Orlando dermatology clinic with a splotchy, painful rash, Dr. Rajiv Nathu took 5 or 6 biopsies. The rash was spreading from the man's limbs to his face, but previous doctors had been stumped by what was causing it. The biopsy results confirmed Nathu's hunch, a diagnosis he described as something you read in your textbooks: leprosy. However, that man didn't have the obvious risk factors that most doctors would expect with the hard-to-catch infection. So after noticing a cluster of other cases in the area, Nathu, a dermatologist and complex clinic director for advanced dermatology and cosmetic surgery clinics in Orlando, began to suspect that Central Florida could be an unexpected leprosy hotbed. Now, his team is cautioning other healthcare providers to be on the lookout for similar cases in the area. According to a research letter published by Nathu and his colleagues in the journal Emerging Infectious Diseases, Central Florida has reported among the highest rates of leprosy in the United States. In 2020, 159 cases were reported nationwide, compared with 200,000 new cases each year around the world, according to the World Health Organization. The new letter says Central Florida accounted for 81% of cases in Florida and nearly 1 out of 5 leprosy cases nationwide. Also known as Hansen's disease, leprosy is caused by the bacteria Mycobacterium leprae, which attacks nerves under the skin. Scientists aren't completely sure of how it spreads, but most believe that it's transmitted via droplets when an infected person coughs and sneezes. Its telltale symptoms include lesions and rashes that are numb or lack sensation because of the involvement of nerves. 9-banded armadillos in the southeastern United States can also carry the bacteria, and gene studies have linked human infections to the leprosy strains carried by armadillos, although it's not always clear how humans encounter armadillo-carried bacteria. Many patients can't recall ever having contact with the animals. The disease is not transmitted through casual contact like shaking hands or sitting next to an infected person. Instead, spread requires prolonged close contact with someone who has untreated leprosy over many months, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Roughly 95% of people aren't susceptible to the infection because their immune systems are genetically programmed to resist it. As a result, leprosy is a rare disease in the United States. Historically, most cases of leprosy in the U.S. affect people who travel to countries with high rates of disease or who are exposed to armadillos that carry the disease. But there are cases in which doctors never know how a person was exposed. In certain states, we see more cases than others. Florida is one of them, said Dr. Linda Adams, chief of the laboratory research branch of the National Hansen's Disease Program, a federal program that coordinates treatment for Americans who are diagnosed. In all of these areas, we do see cases that we cannot explain. There's been no foreign travel, for example, or no contact with armadillos. The 54-year-old man in the new report told his doctors that he had never left the state of Florida and had no exposure to armadillos and no extended interaction with people from countries with high rates of leprosy, though he did spend a lot of time outdoors. About 34% of new cases between 2015 and 2020 didn't have those traditional risk factors, according to the research letter. Instead, the people appear to have been infected locally, a finding that suggests that leprosy has become endemic in Florida, the letter says. Experts agree that leprosy is becoming endemic in the region, but that need not cause a public health panic, said Dr. Nicole Levine, chief hospital epidemiologist at the University of Florida Health Shands Hospital. Endemic simply means there are regular levels of disease in a region, but not that rates are climbing, she explained. It's really rare still, Nathu said. These numbers are still relatively super low here. We're not that concerned with it. However, Nathu has tracked down clinical records of 15 biopsy-proven leprosy cases clustered in eastern Orlando and Volusia County over the past 5 years. 14 of them have not traveled outside the United States, and none of them is connected to each other in any way. Though there's a strong geographic predilection for the illness in Central Florida, there's a misconception among doctors that leprosy happens either only in foreign-born people or only in those with exposure to 9 banded armadillos, according to Dr. Charles Dunn, a study author and chief resident at Advanced Dermatology and Cosmetic Surgery Clinics. Since their patients lack those traditional risk factors, Don believes that it's worth dispelling those assumptions. Even though armadillos are the textbook example, there is no perfect vector for leprosy that the medical community can pinpoint, he added. After all, most people don't have prolonged contact with 9 banded armadillos. That was the crux of our paper, to say, hey, this guy walked into our clinic. We've diagnosed him, and when we look at our database of people in Florida, they seem to be aggregated here. Nathu said, that's something to just keep an eye out for. Still, the cluster of potentially endemic cases in Central Florida worries Levine. Left untreated, the disease can paralyze the hands and the feet, cause blindness, and cause finger and toes to shorten. The infection is curable, but treatment involves a combination of antibiotics taken over a few years. Also, a cure may not resolve things like nerve or skin damage in people whose diagnosis has been delayed, which is a common situation in the U.S., where doctors aren't used to seeing the disease. One of the challenges with leprosy is how slowly the bacteria grows. Depending on the type of infection, according to the CDC, it can take up to 20 years to develop symptoms like pale, numb blotches, rashes, ulcers, and lesions. Given that delay, it can be challenging to track the source and spread of leprosy infection. And since most doctors will never see a case of leprosy, Levine said, it's often misdiagnosed at first. I'm sure that patients go for months without correct diagnosis, she said. I would say that's much more the norm. So yeah, guys, there is cases of leprosy on the rise in Florida for some odd reason. It's interesting that this is a very ancient, situation that's occurring now, especially after all of these epidemics and pandemics and all of this different stuff going on. Now we have these ancient ailments arising. So like they said, it can be spread through contact with armadillos and also through contact with people. Although they are saying it's not, exchanged through touch and all of that. But if somebody coughs on you, sneezes on you, and over, a period of time, it can be the case for you catching it. You know what I'm saying? So just be fully aware. I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot. So yeah, guys, moving on to the next thing. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, I am back. So let me know your thoughts on the whole leprosy situation in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts and opinion on that particular topic. And yeah, I said what I said about it. I feel like that's a very ancient disease and epidemic from the past. Why is it erupting now? And why are these people showing symptoms when they're saying that you have to have traveled out of the country or been around ridiculous and all of that? So if these people haven't experienced that, why would they be catching this particular disease now? It's weird. But anyway, moving on to the next topic, I wanted to get into this topic about Mississippi having Jim Crow laws passed. The information that I will be reading from is from thedailybeast.com, and this is pretty lengthy, so make sure you grab a snack, get you something to drink, and let's get into this information. And it reads, earlier this month, white representatives in Mississippi House approved a bill to create a new district that includes all of the majority white neighborhoods in Jackson, a capital city that is 83% black. This includes creating a criminal justice system for the district overseen by an all-white powerhouse. Under House Bill 1020, the white conservative Chief Justice of the Mississippi Supreme Court will handpick the new district's 2 supervising judges. Its prosecutors and public defenders will be chosen by the state's white Republican Attorney General. The zone will be policed by an expanded Capitol Police Force led by the current white police chief and supervised by the state's white public safety commissioner. Because all the district's officials will be appointed instead of elected, Jackson's majority black citizenry would have no voting rights on the matter, making it Mississippi's only jurisdiction where, according to the ACLU, unelected judges and prosecutors have jurisdiction over criminal and civil law matters, although 12% of their sales taxes will be directed to help pay for it all. It's oppressive because it strips the rights of black folks to vote. Jackson's mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumbas, said after the bill cleared the House. It's oppressive because it puts a military force over people that has no accountability to them. It's oppressive because there will be judges who will determine sentences over people's lives. It's oppressive because it redirects their tax dollars to something they don't endorse nor believe in. State Representative Trey Lamar, the white Republican who sponsored the bill, lives in and represents a majority white district more than 2 hours away from Jackson. He holds a seat once held by his grandfather, Leon Hannaford, whose legacy includes introducing a 1962 bill to tighten residing requirements for college students, which a local paper at the time reported would have kept Negro James Meredith from filing suit to enter the University of Mississippi. In various statements on the House floor and in an opt from last weekend, the legislator has insisted that HB 1020, by adding unelected judges to Hinds County's courts, will help clear up lengthy case backlogs, while an expanded Capitol Police Force will address a spike in crime in Jackson, allowing his constituents to feel safe when they come to the Capitol. Black House Democrats rightly compared the bill to Mississippi's 1890 Constitution, which was drafted explicitly to exclude the Negro from voting through sinister methods of black disenfranchisement, calling the bill racially neutral. He suggested Jackson's black elected representatives who overwhelmingly rejected the legislation have used race as some kind of political maneuver. and has even gone so far as to accuse the same black officials of incompetence in leadership. If it's not already obvious, there's really only one way to describe an effort to create a white political stronghold in America's second blackest city, where the black majority is subject to taxation without representation, and that is trying to pull a Jim Crow. But it's not just the top-down white supremacist power structure. The bill proposes that begs the Jim Crow comparisons. It's also the overtly racist subtext needed to justify the idea that white power is the natural solution, as assumptions so frequently made. It's recognizable between all the lines of racially neutral language. At the suggestion of an amendment to ensure his bill's unelected judges at least be from Jackson, Lamar suggested, the search not be limited to the majority black city, asking, do we not want our best and brightest sitting in judgment? Black House Democrats rightly compared the bill to Mississippi's 1890 Constitution, which was drafted explicitly to exclude the Negro from voting through sinister methods of black disenfranchisement. But the topping of Reconstruction in Mississippi, as elsewhere, was also driven by the white supremacist assumption of black incompetence, intellectual unfitness, and innate inadequacy, ideas fabricated to cast black folks as incapable of leading. One Mississippi delegate would later write that the goal of the state's constitutional convention had been to adopt some provision in our organic law which would serve to the state a good and stable government, free from Negro rule from which we had suffered, and to remove from the sphere of politics in the state the ignorant and unpatriotic Negro. For nearly a century, the white racist recollection of Reconstruction would redact and overwrite history, smearing black leaders as inherently unfit to hold office and falsely portraying the reestablishment of absolute white authority as a necessary intervention and saving grace. Perhaps this history is lost to Mississippi current white legislators, but that seems unlikely considering the effort they put into scrubbing it from textbooks. Ditto to the fact that no black official has held any of the designated shot-calling positions, Attorney General, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, nor any statewide elected office since the brief period of Reconstruction after the Civil War, which ended due to white terrorism to block black voting power. The Mississippi Free Press reported. Mississippi Today reports that during the 4-hour debate over the bill, as black House members were doing all they could to plead with the humanity of their GOP colleagues, a large number of Republicans left the House floor altogether for a majority of the debate, reappearing from the black halls of the Capitol to cast a final yeah vote. Lamar, apparently indifferent, sat behind and scrolled his phone, and yet Lamar keeps saying that HB 1020 is a good faith effort at helping the people of Jackson and Hinds County, but it sure seems like the same tired narratives of the civilizing power of whiteness being used to save uncivilized blackness from itself. What's more, this sudden compulsion to help by takeover, framed almost a charitable giving in debate over the bill, comes after years of apparently feeling unmoved. Both Lamar and Governor Tate Reeves used the language of incompetence when indicting Jackson black leaders about the recent water crisis, but Jackson's leaders had already pleaded for funds from Mississippi legislative super majority, only to be repeatedly shortchanged. Jackson City schools have long been underfunded, as issue that was exacerbated by 2013's Charter Public School Act. But instead of correcting the problem, a takeover was again proposed as a logical solution. And during this legislator session, instead of organizing a hostile takeover, the legislative could vote to expand Medicaid, which would do far more to aid black Jacksonians than stripping their voting rights could even pretend to. But so far, Mississippi legislative majority seem uninterested in providing that sort of help. Makes you wonder where the ineptitude truly lies. If it's not already obvious, there's really only one way to describe an effort to create a white political stronghold in America's second blackest city, where the black majority is subject to taxation without representation, and that is trying to pull a Jim Crow. If HB 1020 isn't an attempt at a land grab, as Democrat Representative Ed Blackman called it, then why does the bill not simply seek to fund more permanent elected judges to Helms County and Jackson's Court instead of diverting tax money to a whole new district? If criminal cases have surged in tandem with Jackson's crime surge, thus creating the backlog that Lamar wants to address, then why are the unelected judges of HB 1020 also going to be handling civil cases to repose another question from Blackman? Especially since in his opt self-defense, Lamar notes that Hinds County District Attorney Jody Owen stated that our current judges are working really hard, but they have half civil and half criminal dockets. Mississippi Crime Lab has been underfunded, understaffed, and under-equipped for years, contributing to backlogs in Jackson's Court and all around the state, and yet Lamar's bill does nothing to address long-standing appeals from lab staffers to address any of those issues. Overlooking these problems doesn't seem like a good way to address Jackson's criminal court case backlogs, unless what you were really trying to do was to create yet another entrenched white power system in the state. Mississippi Capitol Police officer reportedly shot more people in 2022 than any other Mississippi law enforcement department, with the most recent shooting occurring in December. The department's fatal police shooting of 25-year-old Jalen Lewis in September is still under investigation by the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. At a meeting between police chief and public safety officers, black residents expressed concerns that Capitol officers don't know how to deal with black people in black neighborhoods, and fears that most of the force's officers are from counties known for their racial prejudice. While the new Capitol District will still be majority black, it will also include 80% of Jackson's white residents, and guess whose property rights will be prioritized over all else, including certain folks' lives. Never mind, Capitol Police lack an oversight board or standard requirements around transparency of reporting regarding officer-involved shootings, as Jackson's based organizer Makani Thumba wrote for The Nation. Just as Lamar wants his constituents to feel safe when they come to the Capitol, black Jacksonians want to feel safe too, both from crime and from over-policing. It's a concern the legislator blithely dismissed by stating, if you're not committing crimes in Jackson, you really don't have anything to worry about. That's quite a statement from someone with deep roots in a state notorious for creating the black codes, having the most racial terror lynchings, having a Senate that voted to ship its black residents to Africa at the late date of 1922, which created the first White Citizens Council, which removed the Confederate flag from its banner in 2020, and which attempted to ban the teaching about all of those things with a bill that erroneously calls it critical race theory. In 2023, the Mississippi House passed a bill that would essentially resurrect Jim Crow. Now that proposed law will head to the Senate, where Republicans also retain majority power. Perhaps Mississippi will become the first state to so openly reinstate Jim Crow, extracting black power in every form it can yet again, and others will undoubtedly follow. And this was by Kelly Holloway. Wow, that is a lot. But yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. Why are they redistricting only the areas where these few white people decided to congregate and live together? They want to redistrict that, and they want to police themselves, and they want to be their own judges, everything. But at the same time, these are the same people that are already in charge of, any cases involving the blacks from those areas that commit civil or criminal, defenses. So it's like, what? So does that mean that also in the other areas in Jackson and Hinds County that the actual black people can delegate whoever they want as well? Is it the same across the board? I mean, this is a lot to think about, but I don't know about this Jim Crow anything. Nothing about that seems to be a solution for anything that's going on there. Let me know y'all thoughts on what y'all think. I just wanted to have a little bit more insight as to what they were talking about, because like I've stated before, I'm originally from Mississippi. So if I did decide to move back, I need to know what I'm going to be up against. Mississippi has always been a very, very difficult place to live to begin with. So with these added things, But yeah, guys, let me know y'all thoughts, and do y'all think that other states and cities will adopt this whole idea of this Jim Crow situation where, they are not voting in, their judges and cops. They're actually just pretty much handpicking them, in certain districts. So, yeah. And do y'all think that will help anything? You know what I'm saying? As far as the nature and the essence of everything that's going on. So, yeah. All right, guys. In other foolishness, we're going to go into Syria on a liver in Austin. And this is via CNN.com. It says Austin police say suspect in 2 unalivings may be involved in nearly a dozen more. Police in Austin, Texas said a man contacted them and admitted to unaliving 2 people, which led authorities to investigate his possible involvement in up to 10 other unalivings. Raul Meza Jr., 62, called police on May 24th and confessed to unaliving his 80-year-old roommate, Jesse Fraga, and implicated himself in the unalivings of 66-year-old Gloria Lofton in 2019. Austin Police Department officials said at a Thursday news conference. Meza was booked on Tuesday following a 5-day manhunt on 4 charges, including capital unaliving, and he is being held on a $1 million bond, according to court records. When he was arrested, police said Meza had a bag with duct tape, zip ties, and a gun holding additional rounds. Mr. Meza said he was ready and prepared to unalive again, and he was looking forward to it, said Detective Patrick Reed, who answered Meza's initial call and spoke to him again once he was detained. The caller stated, "My name is Raul Meza, and you are looking for me," Reed said during the news conference. Meza then went on to detail his relationship with Jesse Fraga and detail the manner in which he unalived Mr. Fraga, including details that had not yet been released to the public. CNN has reached out to Meza court-appointed attorney for comment. Austin police said they are now looking into the possibility that Meza may be involved in additional homicides. Right now, we have between 8 and 10 cases that kind of fit similar circumstances that we're looking at, but that could obviously grow. Austin Police Detective Katie Connor said at the news conference. In 1962, Meza was charged with the unaliving of a 8-year-old girl and served about 11 years of a 30-year sentence, according to Austin Police. Bruce Mills, who investigated the case in 1962, is now Austin Assistant Interim City Manager, said he thought Meza should have served more time for the 1962 unaliving. Commits Capital Unaliving, Pleas to Capital Unaliving, is released 11 years later and has unalived how many people? We don't know, Mills said. Justice was not served, so there was a travesty of justice totally in this case. And this was by Emma Tucker. I wanted to see what they were talking about because I had heard that there was a serial unaliver on the loose. So I'm glad that he decided to, contact them, and they, hunted him down over a 5-day period. But ain't no telling what he did during those 5 days. But I just wanted to see what was going on with that. But that is wild and bizarre as well. I don't think unalivers should ever get out, especially if they're serial unalivers. That makes no sense. That is a threat to the general public. So I don't think that they ever should get out. There's something mentally disturbingly wrong with those people. So yeah, moving on to other things. Now, right here, I'm going to show a couple of pictures as to some things that I have discovered. Let me see, can I find them really quick? But yeah, this is about salmon fish having claps. So yeah, let's get into it. I don't exactly see the pictures right off, but I am going to show them during this actual recording. So this is from the medicalhealthauthority.com. It says, what is salmon chlamydia? Salmon chlamydia, also known as piscine chlamydiosis, is a bacterial infection that affects salmon and other fish species. It is caused by the bacterium Chlamydia salmonis and can lead to various health issues in infected fish. Causes of salmon chlamydia. The primary cause of salmon chlamydia is the presence of infected fish in aquaculture facilities. The bacterium can spread through contaminated water, equipment, or infected fish introduced into the facility. Symptoms of salmon chlamydia: number 1, reddened or swollen gills. Number 2, abnormal swimming behavior. Number 3, loss of appetite. Number 4, weight loss. Number 5, lesions or sores on the skin. It is important to note that not all infected fish show visible symptoms, making it challenging to detect the infection. Treatment options for salmon chlamydia. Treating salmon chlamydia requires a comprehensive approach to ensure the health and well-being of the fish population. Some common treatment options include: number 1, antibiotics. Administering antibiotics can help control the bacteria infection and prevent its spread. Number 2, vaccination. Vaccinating the fish against salmon chlamydia can provide long-term protection and reduce the risk of infection. Number 3, improved hygiene practices. Implementing strict hygiene protocols in aquaculture facilities can minimize the risk of chlamydia transmission. So yeah, you can learn more about this from the cdc.gov/std default-htm and also https://medlineplus.gov sexually transmitted diseases HTML. So yeah, there is also a documentary on Netflix. If I could find the actual photo, let me look at my other device, and it is talking about a actual documentary on Netflix, and it says where is it? But anyway, it says farm fish diseases. It's anemia, lice infection, lice infestation, infectious diseases, chlamydia, and heart disease. And this is in farmed fish. It's funny that anemia is one of the characteristics, and anemia is really on the rise. But I cannot find the name of that documentary, but it says that it's C something. Once I find out what it is, I will put it across the screen. But anyway, also it says right here, it said, somebody asked in the comments from the people who did the actual documentary, it says someone asked, do fish get chlamydia? And then the person responded saying yes. Pisces chlamydia has hit salmon farming for a few decades. Just one of the many STD, salmon transmissible diseases spread by the rampant expansion of salmon farming. So yeah, but it's some documentary. I will find that and look it up. I should have written it down. But yeah, guys, what do y'all think about that? And then it says it's not only in salmon, but in other fish species. So it's like once they cook the fish and do all this to the fish, skin the fish, you can't really look at the gills and all that to see all of these different ailments on it. You know what I'm saying? We're not out there seeing the fish and looking at how they're swimming and if they done lost their appetite or if they done lost weight and all of that. You have to be a farmer to be able to see those different things. And, you know, we just picking it up from the local supermarket. They could have cut the lumps and bumps and funny looking gills off, and you have no idea that this fish has been through all of that. And then to give it vaccines and antibiotics and all of that, like at the end of the day, are you going to want to still eat that? That's a lot. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. That's why I am really an advocate for being vegetarian, being vegan, being plant-based. Some of this stuff we are just definitely gonna have to leave alone, because like I've said plenty of times before, you do not know what you're eating. Even when it comes down to the vegetables and stuff, at this point you don't know what these people are doing. You don't know why they doing it. It's like, how do fish get a sexually transmitted disease? Like, really? Anyway, let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below. All right, y'all. The name of the Netflix documentary is Seaspiry. So we definitely need to check that out. To see what's really going on. It's supposed to give us more information as far as, you know, all of this sexually transmitted disease and other diseases that these fish have, and, you know, seafood in general. So check that out. Also, it's something called The Artificial, the fight to save wild salmon. So check that out as well. So anyway, moving on, since we're on the topic of food, I wanted to go ahead and name the 25 foods that will disappear. Okay, the first one as far as meat will be poultry and pork. And then the next is milk, including dairy products, you know, all your cheeses, you know, sour creams, ranches, all of that different stuff. Next will be wheat, which will include bread and flour. So we won't have any more bread, no more hot dog buns, no more cakes and stuff like that. And it says maize, rice, cereal. So the rices, cereal, all of that will be gone. Vegetable oils, you know, your sesame seed oil. Well, I can't say sesame seed, but your olive oils, avocado oils, you know, all of those things will be gone. The sugar cane, sugar, the mustard seeds, which include mustard, honey, cherries, coffee, wine, potatoes, beer, bananas, chocolate, soybeans, strawberries, maple syrup, peanuts, fish, snow crabs. That's under the seafood category. Tomatoes, which include ketchup and salsa. No more blueberries, oranges, and no more corn. As far as, corn on the cob, whole corn, whole kernel corn. So anyway, they're saying the reasons for all of this is the yellow dragon disease, a food supply in danger because of climate change, molding, and lack of bees. It says to prepare for starvation. Wow. So yeah, guys, we are going to have to lean more towards fruit and vegetable anyway. And a lot of the fruit will be disappearing. So yeah, because it looks like we won't have any more cherries, bananas, strawberries, tomatoes, blueberries, or oranges. And I thought I saw banana, but so yeah, guys, prepare with what's left. You do still have greens, plums, pears, peaches. Get this stuff now, freeze it, whatever you got to do. Start planning your own. But moving on to the next. Also, guys, let me know your thoughts on the shortages and what do you think we should do to try to preserve ourselves. What do we need to do for preservation, period? If y'all have any ideas, let me know. So the next topic is the Freaknik documentary, and this is from Decider.com. It says there is a Freaknik documentary coming to Hulu, and the announcement comes just in time for college spring break. Reported first by Variety last week, Hulu added a new title to its documentary lineup: Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told. For the uninitiated, Freaknik is the name of an annual spring break festival that takes place in Atlanta, Georgia, every year and is mostly attended by students of historically black colleges and universities. The first Freaknik started in 1983 and was at first simply a picnic at a public park near the Atlanta University Center, organized by the student group, the DC Metro Club, intended for students who could not afford to return home for spring break. The event gained popularity and by the mid-90s became a full-blown block party, complete with live music, vendors, street food, and more. The festival was shut down and discouraged by the city by 1999, but was revived 20 years later in 2019. But now Hulu subscribers will get to hear the inside story of those wild and crazy block parties from the people who were there. Executive producers on Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told, include showrunner Gerald L. Porras and director P. Frank Williams, as well as Jermaine Dupri, Luther Campbell, Peter Bitton, and Melissa Cooper. For Mass Appeal, Eric Tumasunas. For Swirl Films, Terry Ross and Alex Avant. Nikki Bowles and Jay Allen are producers. What is Hulu's Freaknik documentary about? According to Hulu's official description of the documentary, Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told, recounts the rise and fall of a small Atlanta HBCU picnic that exploded into an influential street party and spotlight ATL as a major cultural stage. Can the magic of Freaknik be brought back 40 years later? Several of the producers on the series, including Jermaine Dupri and Luther Uncle Luke Campbell, also participated in Atlanta's magazine's Freaknik Oral History. If you want a preview of the kind of stories you can expect to hear in the documentary, you can start there. Hulu's Freaknik documentary release date There is not yet a release date for Hulu's Freaknik documentary, and the streaming service has not yet put out an official press release or trailer. However, we can guess that the Freaknik documentary will come out in 2024, which would be the 40th anniversary of the famed 1994 Freaknik celebration. Freaknik 94 was a well-documented year thanks to photographer Sheila Turner, because the Hulu description specifically called out the 40th anniversary of Freaknik. We can guess we'll see the documentary in 2024. But again, this is all guesswork. For now, stay tuned for more information about Freaknik, the Wildest Party Never Told on Hulu. So it said, who is trying to stop the Freaknik documentary? Many Freaknik attendees are now in their 40s and 50s, presumably at the peak of their careers. The women initiating the case against the platform include one politician, 3 high-level business professionals, and a judge. Concerns about negative exposure have led the women to sue Hulu in Atlanta's federal court. And also, with that, you have some SA victims coming forward. They say it's like the Me Too movement on steroids. Now, all of this is going on behind the scenes because of this Freaknik documentary. There has also been an officer fired because he had taken some kind of picture he was in. I guess once they went through the footage for the documentary, his face showed up. Also, there was some Kanye footage when Kanye was a little younger and out there in them streets. So, you know, it's just no telling what's going to resurface. And to be honest with you, I mean, I've never went to the Freaknik or anything like that, but I know of the Freaknik. I know people that have attended, and I also have some footage somewhere in my house. It was either the one that they have down in Daytona, or it was the one that was in Atlanta. And trust me, it was some wild stuff going on. But, you know, it wasn't that much more wilder than what was going on with Girls Gone Wild, that whole era. So, yeah. So, anyway, if I can find that footage, we can definitely do a dinner and a movie on Patreon, watching that footage that I have. But like I said, I think it may be the Daytona one, but it was still the same type of stuff going on. If I find that DVD, we can watch that on Patreon. So yeah, guys, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys attended the Freakniks and all of that. I wanted to go. You know, at that time, Atlanta was only a couple of hours from where I lived anyway. So it was nothing, but I was just always working. I had other things to do. But I did want to experience what was really going on down there. Like they said, it was vendors, live music, food. It was good things as well as a lot of bad things. So, you know, but yeah, I was always busy working. So anyway, like I said, let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on that. And if you did attend, are you afraid that some footage that includes you in it is going to be exposed? Because I think that's what this is mainly about. Some of the older people are not wanting, you know, their grandchildren and stuff to see what kind of compromising positions they was in back then. But we all know what it is. So yeah, moving on. So another thing that I found out through hot97.com is saying that the Red Table Talk is gone. It said the show, along with other Facebook Watch Original series, were canceled after the platform announced it's moving away from producing original programming. Jada took to her Instagram to explain that the show is shopping around for a new home. So that brings me to the Facebook class action suit, which we only have a few days to before the deadline. So this was due to a breach of personal info back in 2015. If you had a Facebook between 2007 and 2022, you can go to Facebook userprivacysettlement.com. Now I did jot down some notes. It says, now this is just me jotting down notes. So it says user privacy breaches 87 million Facebook users. And it was actually another company called Cambridge Analytica. So the app, this is your digital life. Psychological profiles of Facebook users, then leverage that for political advertising of 2016. 2015, Facebook was aware of the data breach. They didn't notify their users that their personal information had been exposed. They also didn't take the necessary measures to secure their users' information. Facebook asked Cambridge to delete the info. They agreed but didn't do anything. Then in 2018, the breach became public. Then came the lawsuits, 725 million. All 87 million users have to be compensated. So the qualifications for the class action suit, it says that if you had a Facebook account anytime between May 2007 and December 2022, it has to be a United States Facebook account, and then you have to submit a claim before August the 25th, 2023. And you can go to facebook.userprivacysettlement.com. So yeah, guys, they steady selling people information or using people information to target, to be targeted for political reasons or whatever like that. So yeah, you can get you a little bag, a little coin off of that if you can submit before the deadline. So the next thing is the store closures across the nation. So this is from businessinsider.com. It says nearly 2,400 stores are closing across the U.S. in 2023. Here's the full list. Bed Bath & Beyond, 896 stores. Foot Locker, 545 stores. Tuesday Morning, 487 stores. Walgreens, 150 stores. Christmas Tree Shops, 82 stores. Bath and Body Works, 50 stores. Gap and Banana Republic, 46 stores. Party City, 31 stores. Walmart, 23 locations. Best Buy, 20 stores. Davis Bridal, 300 location. Best Buy Baby, Bye Bye Baby, 120 stores. And Shoe City, 39 stores. So yeah, guys, there are a lot of these department stores closing up. Let me know what you guys think about these closures. But we knew that it was coming sooner or later. I've been hearing about these closures for a while. So moving on to the next, and this one is about Carolyn Bryant Dunham. This is Emmett Till's accuser. She died at the age of 88. So I'm going to read this article on her, and this is from NPR.org. It says Carolyn Bryant Dunham, who accused Emmett Till before he was lynched, dies at age 88. Jackson, Mississippi. The white woman who accused black teenager Emmett Till of whistling at her causes his 1955 lynching in Mississippi, which galvanized a generation of activists to rise up in the civil rights movement, has died at 88. Carolyn Bryant Dunham died in hospice care Tuesday night in Westlake, Louisiana, according to a death report filed Thursday in the Calcasieu Parish Coroner's Office. Her death marks the last chance for anyone to be held accountable for a kidnapping and brutal murder that shocked the world. Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, insisted an open casket funeral in their hometown of Chicago so the world could see her 14-year-old son's mutilated body, which was pulled from a river in Mississippi. Jet magazine published photos. In August 1955, Till had traveled from Chicago to visit relatives in Mississippi. Dunham, then 21, and named Carolyn Bryant, accused him of making improper advances on her at a grocery store where she was working in the small community of Money. The Reverend Willa Parker, a cousin of Till who was there, has said Till whistled at the woman, an act that flew in the face of Mississippi racist social codes of the era. Evidence indicates a woman identified Till to Dunham's then husband Roy Bryant and his half-brother J.W. Millam, who killed the teenager. An all-white jury acquitted the two white men in the killing, but the men later confessed in an interview with Look magazine. A Till relative says Dunham's death bring mixed emotions. When Till disappeared in Mississippi, Ollie Gordon, one of Till's cousins, was 7 years old and living in the Chicago home with Till's mother and family. Gordon told the Associated Press on Thursday that in the days following when he went missing, the home was full of fear because people knew there was a strong likelihood he had been killed. Gordon said she had mixed emotions about Dunham's death. She was never tried in the court of man, Gordon said, but I think she was judged by God, and his wrath is more punitive than any judgment or penalty she could have gotten in a courtroom. I don't think she had a pleasant or happy life. Parker is the last living witness to Till's abduction. He and Till were staying at an uncle's home in Mississippi when Till was taken in the dark of night. Parker said Thursday that his heart goes out to Dunham. As a person of faith for more than 60 years, I recognize that any loss of life is tragic and don't have any ill will or animosity towards her, Parker said in a statement. Even though no one now will be held to account for the death of my cousin and best friend, it is up to all of us to be accountable to the challenges we still face in overcoming racial injustice. Last year, President Joe Biden was proud to sign the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act to make lynching a federal crime. White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre said Thursday, the president is committed to dealing with racial hatred, Jean-Pierre said. Dunham had an unpublished memoir. In an unpublished memoir obtained by the Associated Press in 2022, Dunham said she was unaware of what would happen to Till. The contents of the 99-page manuscript titled I Am More Than a Whistle were first reported by the Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting. Historian and author Timothy Tyson of Durham, North Carolina, who said he obtained a copy from Dunham while interviewing her in 2008, provided a copy to the AP. Tyson had placed the manuscript in an archive at the University of North Carolina with the agreement that it not be made public for decades, though he said he gave it to the FBI during an investigation that agency concluded in 2021. He said he decided to make it public after some of Till's relatives and other people doing research at LaFleur County, Mississippi courthouse in June 2022 found an arrest warrant on kidnapping charges that was issued for Miss Roy Bryant in 1955 but never served. Tyson said in a statement Thursday that Dunham's precise role in the killing of Till remains murky, but it's clear she was involved. It has comforted America to see this as merely a story of monsters, her among them, Tyson said. What this narrative keeps us from seeing is the monstrous social order that cared nothing for the life of Emmett Till nor thousands more like him. Neither the federal government nor the government of Mississippi did anything to prevent or punish this murder. Condemning what Dunham did is easier than confronting what America was and is. Activists sought criminal charges against Dunham. Last year, members of the new Black Panther Party and other activists began showing up at addresses associated with the aging Dunham, including in North Carolina and Kentucky. They were there to serve unofficial warrants for her arrest and trial. Weeks after the unserved arrest warrant was found, the Office of Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch said there was no new evidence to pursue a criminal case against Dunham. In August, a district attorney said a LaFleur County grand jury declined to indict Dunham. Teal's cousin, Priscilla Sterling, filed a federal lawsuit against the current LaFleur County Sheriff, Ricky Banks, on February 7th, seeking to compel him to serve the 1955 warrant on Dunham. In a response, April 13th, Banks' attorney said there was no point serving the warrant on Dunham because the grand jury did not indict her last year. The Emmett Till Legacy Foundation, run by some of Till's relatives, posted a black square to social media sites Thursday after news of Dunham's death was reported. Wow. Let me know y'all thoughts on that as well. And now, I don't even know what to say. It's like, it's not surprising, and they did their big one on not putting that woman behind bars, even after all the evidence was clear. So, I don't know. But I'm kind of like, I kind of feel like the cousin did. It's like, you know, maybe she didn't live a happy life. Maybe that guilt ate her up. You know, maybe she was half, you know, bat crazy because of the situation. So, I don't know. But anyway, like I said, let me know y'all thoughts below on the whole deal. And then we're going to move on to Kai Cenat, charged with enticing a riot. So this is from TheVerge.com. And it says Twitch streamer Kai Cenat charged with enticing a riot after chaotic giveaway in Union Square. Kai Cenat was charged and released from police custody early Saturday morning. And this is by Jay Peters. So it says a massive gathering of people showed up on Friday afternoon in New York City's Union Square for a giveaway hosted by two social media influencers, mega popular Twitch streamer Kai Cenat and another streamer, Phantom. Cenat is the most subscribed streamer on Twitch, according to Twitch Tracker. The giveaway was set to take place at Union Square Park at 4 p.m. Eastern, and the park was full of people by 3 p.m. An earlier video posted Cenat from the inside of a vehicle showed him talking about multiple PS5s he intended to give away while showing off a huge stack of $100 gift cards. The video quickly devolves into chaos when Cenat exits the vehicle, with the crowd immediately collapsing on Cenat and his group. Cenat also posted a nearly 3-minute stream on Twitch that failed to show much. On Saturday, ABC News reported the streamer Kai Carlos Cenat III had been issued a desk appearance ticket for charges including at least 2 counts of enticing a riot, and released from custody early Saturday morning. According to the Associated Press, a police spokesperson said Cenat is due to appear in court on August the 18th. The only public statement from those involved with planning the event has been an Instagram story posted by Kai Cenat AMP, Any Means Possible group, saying, "We apologize to all those impacted and we are fully cooperating with local authorities." In one press conference given after the incident, NYPD Chief of Department Jeffrey Maudry responded to questions about Cenat, saying, "We do not have him, but didn't specify in what We do have him, but didn't specify in what precinct." According to Marjorie, the NYPD became aware of the post at about 1:30 p.m. Eastern before the post went viral at around 3 p.m. After some in the crowd acted violently, he said the police removed Cenat from the park before eventually declaring the gathering an unlawful assembly. During a second press conference Friday, Marjorie announced that Cenat will be charged with at least 2 counts of enticing a riot and unlawful assembly. At that time, he told reporters there had been 65 arrests, including 30 juveniles, and also noted several civilians and police officers who were sent to the hospital after the event to have injuries treated, including at least one teenager harmed by fireworks and some people who suffered broken bones. Cenat and Phantom continued posting to social media on Friday before their accounts went quiet. Posts shared on, and in some cases quickly deleted from their Instagram stories, included one with the text, "I love you guys to the fullest. You are amazing. The love from the home base is real. Please be safe." So that was just the last. Like I said, some of the topics are old, but I just recently found out who this guy was. When I heard how much he made on Twitter for streaming, I had to find out who he was. But yeah, just hearing this, I'm sure there has been more information posted since then, because like I said, he had to be in court on the 18th. So yeah, I'm sure it's some follow-up information that we need to get into to find out what happened. Will he be fined? Will he do jail time? What is going to happen with old buddy? But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. I feel like in this instance, this particular guy, he should not have done that. He should have got the proper, security. He should have got the, what do they call them? If you're going to have that many people coming out, you need the proper permits. You need to have adequate security. I mean, even he was bombarded by people once he got out of the car. I mean, that was very, very unsafe. And no one has said what has happened to those gift cards, what happened to the PS5s. I heard that people's cars were damaged. There was some vandalization going on, and like the article was saying, some people had broken bones. Some people had to go to the hospital for treatment. I mean, it was all of that because this wasn't properly set up. You know, you have to go through the city ordinances to get things done, especially when you're expecting large crowds of people to show up. Now, if it was a small little gathering at a coffee shop with, like, your number one subscribers or something like that, that would have been different, in a setting with less than 10 people or something like that. But you just announced it to your millions and millions and millions of followers, like, and subscribers, like that could have went way worse than it did. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on that. Secondly, I hope all of the millions that he has been able to obtain from social media, I hope he don't have to end up paying it to New York for enticing a riot or inciting a riot. And, maybe, hopefully he doesn't have to pay for these people medical expenses and all of that. It's just, this could be bad. So anyway, if you've heard any updates on this situation, let me know below so I can read up on it to see what's going on. We got to move smarter, guys. That wasn't a good idea. So yeah, guys, with that being said, I do want to thank you all for chilling out with me and joining me for another chat with Airfros and Baby Hairs. I look forward to you guys on the next one. Peace and love. And as always, be blissful and check us out on all of our other platforms. By the way, we are creating a Rumble page as well. I will let you guys know more about that later on. I'm still in the process of setting it up. But yeah, guys, follow us on our other platforms. And yeah, peace out.
DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural. Lady D. Looking tacky. I keep my game tacky.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
Ain't looking tacky. Cause I keep my game tacky.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so nappy, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a tapu. Y'all is cheering on that cartoon, and I'm still on top of these buffaloes. I'm so nappy, I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous witches wanna come back me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so comfortable in my ends, don't care if I make or lose a few friends, and I look like $1 trillion. Lady D won a lotto, cause in the Lord I trust, and beauty is the motto. Naturally dick in the butt, I'm Billy Blanks on the top. Edges a little rough, just pretend I'm from a